I'm on the outside, I'm looking in. I can see through you, see your true colors. 'Cause inside you're ugly like rain. I can see through you, see to the real
The fear, the anxiety, the problems, the PTSD, that is the real pandemic here. But we can't talk about that because once people understand that this is actually what could reverse what's going on out there, well, we can't have that. One of the leading things that we can get through, right? Rapid weight gain, skin, bruises, right? Too much cortisol, right? Diabetes, weakness. Men cannot, you go to build muscle as an older fella. You can't. You got too much cortisol. You're not creating testosterone. So you work out, and you get 10% of what you used to because of cortisol. Bruising easily. As you age, this happens. Perhaps if we weren't as filled with cortisol, maybe this wouldn't be as big of an issue. Skin problems, right? We're going to talk about psychosis. And I'm going to show you what psychosis is, which is all a part of all of these things that have gone on today, from generation to generation to generation to generation. All these people who have put their head in the sands because they've been walking on eggshells around all these other people. They've been taught to just go along to get along. Just be quiet, it'll go away. Do you know anybody like this? Do you feel like you're walking on eggshells? Do you feel like if you just say nothing and don't get into confrontation, you'll feel better? Or do you feel like you're that person who wants to point out, look at that guy. He didn't use his damn signal light. Man, what a freaking idiot. And then you go on and on about it. Like you're going to save the planet by pointing out that this guy didn't use a signal light. You need to follow those rules. You need to have a structured lifestyle. Rule breakers ruin that structure. And it puts you into a complete whirlwind. Same thing with the other. When someone raises their voice, when someone gets angry, when someone does something, triggers your trauma, you stick your head in the sand. Eventually, it's caused this whole, if I just ignore certain things, if I do, this is how people have regulated their lives. And now it's become psychosis. I'm going to show you one huge example of it. Why are we in this whole pandemic? It's to save the healthcare, right? It's so we're not overwhelmed, right? So we don't overwhelm healthcare. Isn't that the premise of this? Because if we overwhelm healthcare, we're screwed. And those people, those rule followers, those people have psychosis about it. It is completely, it's devastating. Let me just show you this. January 31st, 2019, folks, just before this pandemic. Remember the pandemic? We don't want to overwhelm hospitals. We don't want to harm the healthcare. About 1,000 patients in hospital hallways on any given day, says the report. Toronto, on any given day, at least 1,000 people are being treated in Ontario hospital hallways, according to the Special Advisor on Healthcare, who says tough decisions will be required to fix the problem. Dr. Ruben Devlin, and the Premier's Council on Improving Healthcare says hallway medicine is a significant problem in Ontario. The next report is set to contain the series of recommendations. But we're going to identify the greater need for innovation and efficiency to decrease hospital overcrowding. Ontario's healthcare system can be characterized as decentralized, large and siloed, sure. Nothing there are 21 health-related government agencies supporting the design and delivery of healthcare in the province, the report says. Recent media reports have indicated that the government is considering shutting down these agencies and folding them into one super agency. Key word here, centralized. Right now it's decentralized, but we want centralized power over everything. We can go back to what are the planks of communism? One of the main planks is centralized healthcare. Once you have control over everything, you have control over the people. 21 agencies are not always aligned. There is limited strategic oversight to ensure the efficient and coordinated use of resources. What's one way to do that? What's one way to say we need to do this now? Well, we blow it all up and say we're under emergency orders. Now we're going to centralize it. Overcrowding of emergency department means Ontarians whose care can only be provided in an emergency department are waiting longer to access health care. One way of measuring use of space is looking at how many people are waiting for care in another setting. But they don't do this, do they? Today it's just cases. We're measuring health care on cases. Not how many people are in hospital, not how many people are waiting to go in the hospital, but just cases. The way of measuring it is definitely, the largest proportion, of that is people waiting to be transferred to long-term care. The report says where the average wait time to access a bed is 146 days. Long-term care, which is the most attacked by this pandemic, they're saying here is the problem of overcrowded hospitals. Long-term care homes are at 98% capacity. Almost 80,000 residents and 627 long-term healthcare homes. Even though most mental health issues are best treated in the community, long wait times for that treatment sometimes mean that a patient condition worsens while they wait. So what have we done? We've kicked all of these people out. Set them on the streets. You wait at home. Because now apparently this virus, we don't want to overwhelm the hospitals. I have a conversation with a fellow I know every day. We cannot do this because we're in a pandemic. It's an emergency. It's an emergency. We don't want to overwhelm the hospitals. But where were they advocating for the hospitals back here? Where was anybody advocating for them then? When was this ever a problem back then?
This used to be an exercise gym. Now it's a makeshift hospital ward with no bathroom, little privacy, and beds separated by portable screens.
I'm just going to check your oxygen and everything, okay, while I'm here?
We're overwhelmed. It's a war scene. People are dying. They need help. We can't give them help. We don't have enough beds. We don't have enough people. We can't get to them. This is what we hear every day. But look at this story.
South Lake Regional Health Centre is a 500-bed hospital in Newmarket, north of Toronto. Its overcrowding affects patients from the moment they arrive in the ER.
Stayed in emergency for probably almost 2 days, I guess, until they finally got me what you see here, these lovely accommodations.
New data obtained by CBC News show Ontario's hallway medicine problem is not just confined to the Toronto area. From January to June last year, all these hospitals were filled beyond capacity nearly every single day.
So we've got warning signs going off all over the province, and the situation just isn't viable.
It's forcing hospitals to put beds in all kinds of spots. This former kitchenette will soon be a patient room.
I thought this was because of COVIDs. I thought this was because of the virus, the pandemic. I thought that's why they did all this. Remember that? It wasn't because of mismanagement. It wasn't because of no money. It wasn't because of the government's failure to provide health care that we are one of the, I think, the third highest in the G7 that we pay for. It had nothing to do with that. It was all because we're trying to save the health care. Or is it all because we're trying to cover a problem that we've created?
We don't have the same access to the equipment as you would on a set-up acute medical floor.
No one at the hospital likes it this way, from the nurses to the CEO.
When I see patients in areas such as our gym, is I think about, how would I feel if that was my dad in that bed?
I want you to understand where she's coming from. She's Sally Fix-It. And she's now the one probably advocating for, I have a moment, a crisis that I can utilize. I can utilize this crisis to get what I need because I couldn't back then. Nobody cared. Nobody gave a rat's butt about our conditions, right? Just back here, our conditions, right? This. They show this kind of stuff as COVID now. They show this stuff as the war zone, what they have to deal with because of the many, many people out there dying and needing hospital care. This was never a problem before. Remember that.
Likes it this way, from the nurses to the CEO.
When I see patients in areas such as our gym, is I think about, how would I feel if that was my dad in that bed?
Sally Fix-It.
I wouldn't feel that good about it.
She was the glue.
Another hospital, also near Toronto. Weekday afternoons are pretty quiet in the ER. Still, there are patients in the hall and beside the nursing station.
For our staff who work in this environment,
But do you see everybody freaking out and exasperating a situation and telling you how much fear there should be and, panicking and crying? You don't see any of that in this. It's just a bunch of whiny people saying, we've got people in the hospital. That's what we got. CEO of Alberta Healthcare Services salary is $600,000 a year. We could sure use that in here, apparently. Where is the money going that's supposed to go into our healthcare? That's my question. But I digress from that. The overall image I'm trying to paint here is COVID is the reason we're in trouble. But I'm showing you, this is January 22nd, 2020, just before the pandemic hit. This was already an issue. It's not like this is, but they're saying this is a regular day in Ontario, in Toronto. It's a problem.
they would describe it as constantly working under crisis.
The hospital put beds in this meeting room.
Sorry, I wanted
10
you to
patients
hear
here
that.
Constantly working for our staff.
Still, there are patients in the hall and beside the nursing station.
For our staff who work in this environment, they would describe it as constantly working under crisis.
The hospital put beds
Constantly working under crisis. So maybe they're using this new crisis to get the attention that they need. What incentivizes them? Right? Show a couple of people with some mask indentations. Funny, I see people in construction like that every day. They've got, their skin is all like rash because they wear a mask. But we don't show those guys. We're using this as a crisis. We're using this to get the attention we need and deserve. And those who operate these facilities are looking for more money, perhaps, and using the crisis as well.
in this meeting room. 10 patients here share one washroom with no shower. Ontario Premier Doug Ford has promised to end hallway healthcare. His health minister admits it'll take years.
There's no simple solution to change it. There's a lot of action that needs to be taken, and we are doing that.
One of the big causes of overcrowding, about 1 in 6 hospital beds is occupied by a patient who doesn't need acute care. They're mostly waiting for space in long-term care, something in short supply for Ontario's.
So how do we fix the problem? It sounds to me like they need to get these people out of there to make more room for health care. I'll let you make your own, opinions and thoughts on where that leads and what's happening there. But it sounds to me like these people are the problem. They're clogging up the system because there's not enough long-term health care for them, so they're sitting here, clogging up the hospitals. And that's what they just said here.
They're mostly waiting for space in long-term care, something in short supply for Ontario's growing and aging population. Mike Crawley.
So the premise of the pandemic, save healthcare. Not people, save healthcare. Because healthcare all of a sudden is going to be overwhelmed. That's what the models say. Although I just showed you. They're already in hallways. It was easy to portray this. The crisis was already there. It was easy to show people what a war zone this is. But except, let's change the dynamics of the picture. This little, striper here, whatever, Porter, no big deal. He's running around. Now he's in a full-on gown and hazmat suit. And these people are not smiling. The picture looks quite dismal. And why do they do all this? Never let a good crisis go to waste. But what happens to people when they see this picture? Not a big deal. People are smiling, right? And this video, like, look at nobody's, she's not really that worried. She's just kind of, it is what it is. This is a problem. We've been dealing with this forever. But nobody's listening. That's what she's saying. Nobody's listening. So let's talk about psychosis for a minute here. Psychosis. It's a condition that affects the way your brain processes information. It causes you to lose touch with reality. You might see, hear, or believe things that aren't real. Psychosis is a symptom, not an illness. It's a mental or physical substance abuse or extreme stress or trauma can cause it. Well, isn't that weird? Extreme stress or trauma. Like, we're in an emergency, butthead. Do what they say, sit on your head and spit out nickels. Could that cause you to not see or hear things and lose touch with reality? The person that you're talking to, you could literally show them that all of these things are untrue, what's happening out there. You could show them this picture and say, well, did you know 4 months ago or 2 years ago that they were already saying hospitals were overcrowded? And they would come up with a reason saying, yes, but because of the pandemic, they don't want this to go on. But actually, because of the pandemic, there isn't a problem in the hospitals anymore. There isn't overcrowding. But these people aren't upset and freaking out. They're just saying, yeah, there's a problem, but nobody wants to listen. In the new, it is causing trauma. It is causing pain. It is causing fear. Same issue, just a different take on it, portrayed differently to cause this and to cause more of this, which in turn you lose this. You lose your purpose, your health, your well-being, who you are. It's completely crazy. But that's psychosis. And the more of this we have, the more this is controlling, and the more of a state we're in this, the more of this you're going to see around you. That's the crux of the problem I see right now. Amongst all the shrapnel and amongst all the trauma and hurt inside of each one of us that is being triggered by this. Let's talk about this. We talk about substances, right? Drugs known to trigger episodes. We can use a lot of these things. What do we use to get someone off of, when they've had an overdose? Let's look at that drug for a moment here. Not a big deal, right? All these things here. But I bet you if you look at a lot of this, what you'll end up finding is it circles back to your trauma, the way you perceive life because of it, and the way you need to self-soothe yourself, the way you need to make things calm, the way you need to stop walking on eggshells. You just need it to stop. And you need to fix everybody else around you to make it stop. Or you need to hide from those people because they trigger you and it will stop. I'm going to reach out my hand today for all of you. And I'm going to take you by the hand and we're going to walk through this massive shitstorm together. Let's do this together. And as we go down each one of these, and what I intend to do is I'm going to try and make small videos dealing with some of these things, dealing with short pieces of the puzzle. And if it resonates with you, great, please share it. And if it resonates with someone you know, please let them see it. But I want to try and give an example of what we're seeing, what's happening, and how we can help ourselves through it. But we can't do it by avoiding it. We're not going to get anywhere by just saying, I'm going to hide in my house, or I need to fix everybody else and wake everybody else up out there. Because everybody's going to see that, what happened to you, man? Holy crap, you're looking good. Man, I'm freaking out here and you're just calm. What's going on? Like, how do you do it? How do you stay sane? They're going to ask. And I want you to share that with them. Because this is how we're going to do it. We're going to look at each and every one of these little pieces of the puzzle. And some may be related to you and some may not. But hopefully at the end of the day, it's going to help you get through the storm. But we look at how this all is connected. And once you've reached the point of psychosis, when you can no longer when you have no cognitive dissonance to understand, when the government tells you all of a sudden the flu is gone, and you just eat that up and you can't understand. There's no such thing as the flu being gone and something else there. More people must be dying is the psychosis of that statement. We don't have any flu anymore. We have this. It's like saying we don't have chocolate anymore. We have cocoa. But what happened to the chocolate? It's cocoa. But isn't there chocolate? No, it's cocoa. The gaslight. Understand it. Doesn't matter what you call it. It is what it is. People want to become different genders because they don't like what they are. They were hurt by something. So let's change what I am. I don't like processing that a man hurt me, so I want to be a man so a man can no longer hurt me. I don't like being a woman because ... I don't like being a child, so I'm going to be a goat. It's psychosis. We can no longer deal with reality, so we make up stories and change it. We don't want to see what's in front of us. They will gaslight. They will give you a new story. And it is up for you to be able to process the information in front of you. When people get back to being able to do that, we don't have to worry about Trudeau. We don't have to worry about Biden. We don't have to worry about any of it because they won't exist. We won't allow it. But in order for that not to exist, we need to be able to process and understand why we need this in our lives. And it's to self-soothe, to feel good outside of ourselves because we don't have enough inside of ourselves. We don't feel good. We're not digging it, man. Causes. Psychological issues. Right? From psychosis. Bipolar, stress, anxiety, depression, postnatal depression. Imagine the people out there right now that need help, that want to know how the hell they can get calm again. And that's not by voting. That's not by saying if Biden's in, my life will be good. That's not by saying Orange Man Bad is out of the picture, so life is safe again. None of that matters. None of it matters at the end of the day. One of the things they haven't put in here is narcissism, which is, on the scale of many of these. For example, a person with bipolar disorder is more likely to have grandiose delusions, narcissism. Someone with depression or schizophrenia is more likely to develop persecutory delusions. Does any of this resonate with any of you folks out there? Does any of this help you understand what you see in front of you? The people who are using this crisis to get their own agendas forward, they don't care about you. They're going to project that they do, and if you could translate that in your mind, you would understand that it's not their problem. It's yours. Deal with it. Get through it. Alcohol misuse, drug misuse can trigger psychotic episodes. Lots of alcoholism going on right now. It's a way to self-soothe. Eating disorders, self-soothing. If I eat, I feel happy. If I project my hate for myself onto another white person, I feel happy because they're not looking at me. They're looking at that white person. What hypocrisy. I'm white too. They're looking at me. I'm condemning myself by looking in the mirror. One way, shape, or form, we're all connected, folks. Passing the buck is not going to make you feel better. Let's talk about some of the problems as well. Where have you heard that we get a lot of dopamine from nowadays? Where are you seeing that? Great deal of research on how psychosis affects the brain and how changes the brain can trigger symptoms of psychosis. Our phones. Ding! Someone cares about me. Snapchat. Oh my God, my friend. All of those things. It's weird, but that's what we get. And while we're doing that, we're not seeing what's going on out there. Right? That's the cult of personality. Oh, look at that. If I don't pass on this Black Lives Matter poster, people will think I'm crazy. Swipe, pass. Here's all my friends. You don't really care, but you just do it to be a part of the group, part of the mob. But you don't realize the repercussions. You give those people a voice, whether or not you intended. Yes, virtue signaling. It's a large part of it. Large part of it. But the dopamine is a huge part of this. Projecting. Another part. Which is why I wanted to change what I was doing. And I wanted to make sure that you folks that come here have real sustenance. Because I don't want to just take you on a dopamine ride. I don't want to just give you feel goods and nothing. You come away with nothing. You need to have some value in what we're doing each time. And me regurgitating the news and telling you how Trudeau's an idiot and they want to take your guns and, oh, look at Venezuela. I mean, these are all warning signs to me. That's the way I process it. But to others, they love trauma. They want to come here because it's a dopamine hit for them. Someone else feels the way I do and they're pissed off just like me. I feel a part of it. We get high off of that. That needs to stop. Come here with an open mind. I don't want you to be pissed off. I don't want you to be emotionally drug around. I want you to be better after this and maintain that. Not for a moment, not for a bing, because you understand the why. Because you understand that if I do this and I work on this aspect of myself, I can feel good all the time or more of the time. And the more I work on this, I can regulate my own emotions. I can regulate how people affect me, which should be never. That's the crux of all this. This is what I want to help everybody with. It worked for me. I can wake up in the morning and have that fog and go, oh, no. No. I need to feel good. And kid you not, I have moments just like you all. You will fall a few rungs down every so often. But understand, the ladder keeps going. Just keep climbing. Just because you fall a couple times doesn't matter. Grab on and keep climbing. And we'll all get there together. We'll all get there together. Researchers believe dopamine plays an important role in psychosis. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter, one of the many chemicals the brain uses to transmit information from one brain cell to another. It's associated with how we feel, whether something is significant, important, or interesting. We get used to things out there. We get used to trauma. We're given all of these news stories to make us feel, and we like feeling. But we forgot how to regulate our feelings. So when I could sit here and show you 4,000 news clips, and I could make you feel. I could make you feel happy. I could make you feel sad, pissed off. I can make you feel. But the feelings are momentary. I want you to feel what you feel. I want you to understand how to do it. Back to the article. Disruption to these important brain functions may explain the symptoms of psychosis. Evidence for the role of dopamine in psychosis comes from several sources, including brain scans and the fact medicines known to reduce the effects of dopamine in the brain also reduce the symptoms of psychosis. More psychosis disrupts important brain functions. So the more you're hooked to your phone, the more you're hooked to news cycle, to news cycle, to news cycle, the more you're hooked to podcasts that want to take you on a wild ride. The more you're hooked on things like that, the less you're doing any kind of thinking and listening and processing. You're just feeling. It's like going on an acid ride and you want more and more of it, but you get nothing from it. So you go to I can't wait for the next one. Oh, it's going to be a wild ride. And then you must understand, if you want something good to come from it, get rid of the disruptions, get rid of the dopamine hits, and regulate the feelings, regulate the thoughts. You get dopamine from standing up for good. I'm going to give you some bad news. That's the I want to fix it. I hate to say it, but you want to fix it. Standing up for good means just being good yourself. When you're brave enough and courageous enough to stand up for what you value and believe in, you will walk your walk and people will want to walk it with you. They'll want to know how you're doing it. That's the truth. You look at I showed a while back, there was, it was like one of those pranks they pulled. 7 people walk into an elevator. One unbeknownst person walks in. They all turn around. He turns around with them thinking, must be. But that's where it starts. Yeah, not necessarily. So what I'm saying by bad news is I'm hoping you're not thinking, going out there and saving the world like Superman. You will get dopamine from that, but you'll get nothing back from it. You'll be looking for the next hit, the next hit, the next hit. When every day when you wake up and you feel that you're already on pace, you know who you are, you know what you want, you're happy, you're good, you're gold, and you're striving for the things that is going to make you happy. And you're keeping your family on pace for those same things, teaching them the same thing, teaching your kids that telling on the next kid doesn't make you feel, it makes you feel like you're doing the right thing, but maybe going up to that kid and saying, hey man, but nobody teaches anybody anything anymore. Leading by example. Yes, be an example. You can't fix anyone else. You cannot. But you can give a good example out there. Well, that is one of the main things. I was talking to a good friend here, Lucky Strike, about this. Jesus saves. And that's what I tell people. You need to find that relationship, and it is yours and yours only. And it will help you. We couldn't agree on this, which I use the word just for the lack of a better, because it spans many religions. And I don't like to get caught up in religion in itself. I just go to the crux of what the Creator wanted, what Jesus wanted. And it's just a love for yourself and a love for Creator and a love for the people around you. That's it. That's the relationship. Respecting yourself, loving yourself every day. Otherwise, it's an issue. When you're in any of these states, you lose that profound relationship within yourself. And you're looking to get it back through dopamine hits. You're looking to get it back through many, many discounted, easy ways. The self-soothing ways. It's something we need to understand. Anything that you'd like me to make a video on? A topic? Is there something that you've been curious about and you'd like to hear more about? You know, I'll do a 15-minute video or something like that. I'll post them on here. I'll post them on Odyssey. Please make sure you follow me on Odyssey, because that's where I don't know, I'm told Rumble's another place to go, but it's so hard. I don't want to make you guys congregate in 7 different places, right? I'd like to just keep it in one place. And I mean, look, Odyssey works for me. The link is right here. See the link right there? That's my Odyssey link. You can go there, follow me there. Which is library, same thing. If you're on library, same idea. As I said, the more and more people, if we got rid of the dopamine and the cortisol and the disruptors, and actually be the disruptors out there, and I'm not saying violently or boisterously, just go out and do what you do. Be that one person in the elevator facing the other way, saying, that's good for you to face that way, but this is what I'm doing. I'm doing me, man. More and more people, if everybody was rather than the sheep, you become the cats. You're not going to get herded. How do they do that? They don't want cats. They want sheep. So bring back your cognitive abilities, your critical thought. Why I started this channel. That's why I called it Critical Thinker. Because that's what I wanted to rebuild in myself. Keep doing you. Don't let this get you down. Find the things that make you happy all the time. And thanks, Lucky, for posting that. And stick with it. Grow that part of you again. Find those things. Don't stick your head in the sand. You're doing me and you a disservice. Because I want to know who you are. Don't hide. Come out there. You have so much greatness to share. And I want to thank all of you for joining me today, and I wish you great luck on the journey that's about to come. Take care, everyone. Take care of yourselves. And find that relationship. Take care.
Is the changing light, and there's mistakes. The path is long, and I'm sure I'll answer for them when I'm gone. So when the day comes and the sun won't touch my face, tell the ones who cared enough that I finally left this place that's been so cold. Look in my face, all the stories it will tell I can't erase. The road is long, just one more song, a little something to remind you when I'm gone, when I'm gone. The road to hell along the way is paved with good intentions, so they say, and some believe that no good deed goes unpunished in the end, or so it seems. So when the day comes and the sun won't touch my face, tell the ones who care enough that I finally left this place that's been look in my face. All the stories it will tell, I can't erase. The road is long, just one more song, a little something to remind you when I'm gone, when I'm gone. So this is it, I say goodbye to this chapter of my ever-changing life. And there's mistakes, the path was long, and I'm sure I'll answer for them when I'm gone, when I'm gone.